Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of The Guido Goes Off. Again, I thank you folks for watching. Now I want to kind of get this out before SmackDown has opportunity to air because there's a lot of questions that Hell in a Cell left in our minds. And since I'm a bit late to the review game, again, we're working on this. Hopefully we'll have a solution by TLC. I'm going to do something a little different. I will talk about each match, but I will focus more on certain aspects of Hell in a Cell and certain questions that are in our minds after we finish watching. Well, at least me specifically. I keep thinking I can talk for you guys. I'm not that kind of guy. So, without further ado, here's Guido's 5 questions after Hell in a Cell. Okay, so, like many of you, I watched Hell in a Cell. I thought, it was okay. Of course, there was one match that left a big impression on us. We'll get there. But, until then, I'm going to toss in my 5 questions. The questions that Hell in a Cell posed kind of left my head scratching a bit. And maybe I actually have answers for them. Now starting off, question number 1. When will the Hype Bros split? Now this, of course, has to do with the kickoff match. Was a match between the Hype Bros and the new team of Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. Now, it did seem more and more like Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable are starting to click more as a tag team, which you need that. But at the same time, the Hype Bros are kind of splitting. As you can see, the two of them had different ring gear on. Zack Ryder has his gear that was ZI, woo, all that stuff. Whereas Mojo, going back to his college roots, if you notice, his gear has accents of the state flag of Maryland. Something I can get behind. Go Ravens. And as you can see, there's clear miscommunications, especially at the finish where Ryder's trying to get Mojo for something, get Mojo's attention, and then he gets hit with pay dirt by Shelton Benjamin. Now it's been clear that there's been miscommunications. Heck, this started all the way with a battle royal to determine the #1 contender for the WWE Championship, which I think was won by Jinder Mahal, which started other things. But it's clear that there are easily cracks in the Hype Bros, and that more than likely there will be a parting of the ways sometime soon. Which I can honestly see, because it's one thing that's clear. Zack's good on his own, but they did have a tendency they did, much like a lot of things this booking team and creative department has done. They kind of screwed the pooch with Mojo Rawley as a singles wrestler. I mean, you had the perfect opportunity, but they just kind of let it go. So having them feud could easily help both of them. Was it about the Ravens? Anyway, it's kind of scary. And so I think it's going to happen eventually. But you're probably going to see this at a December pay-per-view where the feud actually begins. And someone's scared. Just had one of the kitties walk in. And so, when will they split? I would say relatively soon. I think probably maybe if they're on the same Survivor Series team, like if they do a 10-team Survivor Series match, that'll do it. So I'm going to move on. I do kind of gloss over a couple of matches here. Now I know I probably shouldn't gloss over this one because it was the match of the night. In opinions of a lot of people, honestly, in my opinion too. The Hell in a Cell match between the New Day and the Usos. Good Lord, that was fun. I mean, creative use of weaponry, creative use of the kendo sticks. Apparently the match needed more cowbell. And just that these two teams fighting tooth and nail to either win or stay the tag team champions. That was in and of itself a lot of fun. The Usos winning, the Usos probably needed the win, and honestly, I could see this feud continuing, and I could be fine with that. Orton and Rusev, are they going to do anything? Because that match just felt like filler, and you had Orton winning, and we all have heard that Orton's frustrated as a face. So why have him as a face then? He's actually better as a heel anyway. Okay, so then the next match, the United States Championship match, which became a triple threat on the pre-show. AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, and Ty Dillinger for the United States Championship brings me, which was a good, solid match, but it brings me to my second question. Is Corbin out of the doghouse? Because Corbin winning would suggest that he is. Now, we all know, and I've talked about it at length, that Corbin has had a lot of heat on him as of late, due to his actions at symposiums, his interactions on Twitter. And, of course, the penalty for that was him, pretty much getting boned over the last few months. Losing Money in the Bank, the "Where's Your Briefcase" chant. Losing in such quick succession to John Cena. But it seems like this feud, with AJ and with Ty Dillinger in the mix, so having it as a triple threat actually made a lot of sense, so kudos to booking on that. And then having Corbin win. Now, he won in his character's fashion, backdooring a win at, kicking AJ out after he hit the phenomenal forearm on Ty Dillinger. Don't get me wrong. It does go in line with his character. It does make sense that he would win in that fashion. And he is the United States champion. So is Corbin out of the doghouse? Probably. Now, don't get me wrong. Joining Triple H's first Intercontinental title reign was while he was in the doghouse following the Madison Square Garden curtain call. So it's possible he's still on a short leash. But let's face facts, he did some of the things that he could have gotten fired for, but Vince likes him. So I would say more than likely he's out of the doghouse, and this could help him to get where he needs to be as a character. I'd like to say as a human being. I've heard he's an okay human being, and holding the kid and giving him a shirt and that was a nice move. But bad heel. Bad! Okay, so. Not a match where I have a question, but I know a lot of people did complain about this one. I take that back. I actually do have a question on this one. And that was the match, Natalya defending the SmackDown Live Women's Championship against Charlotte. The match in of itself brings me to pose the question number 3. Is a face flare a good flare? No. I'm sorry, a face flare is never as entertaining as a heel flare. And let me bring this to my point. Now, Now, first, let me talk about what the fans didn't like about it, and that was that the match ended in a disqualification where Natalya went ham with a steel chair. I actually like it because it means they want to continue this feud, and it's probably something they should do. I'm not going to lie, Natty has been more entertaining as of late than she has ever been, and it's really good for her. And she and Charlotte can have great matches together. I know, I've seen them in person. So, flipping the dynamic, though, of it, where Charlotte is the face. I mean, it's clear they're trying to push her more as a face, especially in light of what happened with Rick. And it's clear they're trying to get, I hate it. I do hate it sometimes when they use real life events to try to get sympathy for a character, and they have done that before with Charlotte. To the applause of, but is a face flare a good flare? I don't think so. I think face flares are bland. Now, don't get me wrong. Most baby faces are bland. Their characters are hoorah, let's go. Some people can pull it off if they put a little edge to the face, to being a face. You see Roman Reigns trying to do that now. You've got, when John Cena, when he was, as things were pulled back and he is allowed to be more himself. You could tell, putting a little bit of edge on it, giving a little bit of the needling. It does help It does help a character as a babyface. Because in the end, this is all supposed to be a competition. These people all want to be the best. And you're going to take whatever, you should do whatever's necessary to do that. But Ric Flair's a flip face was bland. And unfortunately, Charlotte's also, I've had issues with Charlotte's promos and her, how she interacts with, and how she interacts on television. Because more often than not, she's sounded like a robot talking. She'll speak in such a monotone way, and then she'll start yelling, thinking that's going to get your point across. It's kind of like, reminds me of any American tourist in a country that doesn't speak English, where apparently these people think that if you speak at a higher volume, people will understand you. Which doesn't work. It doesn't work. Do not get me wrong. Charlotte is an incredible athlete. Charlotte is easily more athletic than David. And she's definitely more athletic than Rick was in his heyday. But then again, he didn't have to be a great athlete. He just had to tell a story. He just had to put on a good match. And he could sell out arenas. I don't know if Charlotte's not quite there in that aspect. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying it could. It could happen. But I've never been, as we all know, I've never been Charlotte's greatest fan. But I'm more of a fan of a heel Charlotte than I am a face Charlotte. Because a face Charlotte is bland. So that's my third question. Fashion Files. Whoa. That sucked. To be honest, it clearly wasn't the best. And I'm wondering if they've gotten to the point where they're just trying whatever sticks. Because you got them ripping off like Twin Peaks and X-Files, and now they're going to rip off Pulp Fiction. Kind of eerily similar to something they're doing on Raw with. No, let's not talk about that. But people seem to like Breezango in this role. I want to see them wrestle. Maybe that's just me. It could be just me. Is it just me? Sorry, the cats are down here. So, the next match goes on to illustrates my fourth question, and that, of course, is the blemish on this card, and that is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship. Which brings me to my fourth question. I'm sorry. Why is Jinder still champion? Okay, now let's. Now, I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on this anyway. My notes were very plain on this. It was simply paint by numbers booking of any Jinder Mahal pay-per-view match. Things interfered, little shortcut, use of the and him going over, or him winning. But the question is, why is Jinder still champion? This probably would have been you probably do not have we will not have a better chance to get the title off of him and make it believable, because it's simply the same old thing over and over again. And if they're thinking, oh, this is really working, why was it when you had one of the biggest things going on as far as your main event for this pay-per-view was concerned, you only had 3,000 tickets sold for that SmackDown? Jinder Mahal is easily going to go down in history as if not the worst WWE champion of all time, simply because of ticket sales and mostly ticket sales. Let's just go with ticket sales. Because one thing is abundantly clear. Even the people who were behind Jinder as champion at the start, he's lost them. It's not working anymore. It's time to move on. Which brings me to the bonus question, is it now too late for Shinsuke Nakamura? You're talking about one of the most talented wrestlers on the planet. You're talking about easily one of the greatest, most charismatic talents on the planet. You brought him to NXT. He was great in NXT. Then you bring him to WWE, and then you do this with him. I mean, this is a guy who beat Dolph Ziggler, beat John Cena. Yet he can't handle some delusional self-proclaimed monarch with a couple of littler guys. I was told saying dancing monkeys was bad, but it's facts. So, how does Shinsuke come back from this? He's had 2 shots at the WWE Championship, and in both times, he has lost. You're getting to the point. Can he be a legitimate contender? Or is it once again another situation of 2 things that we've seen constantly from the main roster of WWE? Destroying NXT talents and breaking down people that got over in other companies. The examples of both, are staggering. And you're doing all this to build up a guy who's not even popular in the market you're trying to get, or that you're trying to get that big piece of? Come on. It's not working. You get over it. Get the title on someone that the fans, want to see it on, which is probably right now anybody but Jinder Mahal. I mean, literally, Kurt Hawkins would probably make a better WWE champion right now than Jinder Mahal. Grado would probably make a better WWE champion right now than Jinder Mahal. I would probably make a better WWE champion than Jinder Mahal right now. I'm just saying, anybody could right now. Because you've literally lost the audience. It's clear with the amount of empty seats you have at your events. I'm just saying. So, I'm going to gloss over Rude versus Ziggler real quick. Dolph's trying to make a point that, he's a great wrestler. He doesn't need a flashy entrance. Interesting with the roll-up after roll-up after roll-up after roll-up. I thought that was actually quite fun. I called Rude a dirty heel. Well, thankfully, a lot of you got that. And, the match did its job, And it's probably going to be a continuing of this feud, which would probably help. People are still questioning if Ziggler's out the door. And maybe he is, but... So, this brings me to the main event, the Hell in a Cell match between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. Now, let's bear this in mind. You had a match that a lot of people were looking forward to. You had a dead crowd. Because for reasons known only to God and Road Dogg, Jinder Mahal is still the WWE champion. So you had a lot riding on this, and this match delivered. Of course, things got more interesting the moment Shane McMahon picked up the bolt cutters. We pick up the bolt cutters and open up the cell door. Yep, he is jumping off something. Heck, he knew that going into the match he was jumping off the top of the thing. Especially when he had his wife and kids up there, and he's hugging his wife and kids. And we're like, you're jumping off that thing. And, but yeah, when it got to the outside, and when they're, you had the iconic moment when those two were standing on top of the Hell in a Cell. And every time there was a slam, your heart was in your throat because you're like, oh, God, this is good. Okay. Oh my God, he's going back. Okay. Kudos to the guys that built the structure of this go around because it held up. And then, of course, you had the, Owens crashing through getting hit off the cell and put through the Spanish announce table. I'm sorry to the German announce team. I thought it was the German announce table. Which is interesting because that comment got a like from Tim Hayter, who is one of the German commentators for WWE. So, yeah. And so then, Shane clearing off the main announce table, putting Kevin Owens on that, climbing up to the top of the cell. And he's going to jump off. He jumps off, and then at the last minute, Kevin Owens gets pulled off by Sami Zayn. That's right. These two guys who have been feuding pretty much since the day Kevin Owens debuted on NXT television pulls Owens out of the way. And then throws, paramedics out of the way, gets Owens on top of him. It's a cover 1, 2, 3. And so it brings me to my fifth question. Why, Sami? Why? Now, a lot of people are going to think, it's why would he help this guy? And some people speculate, well, it's their friendship. It's been so long. He thinks that Kevin can be redeemed. Actually, I might have the answer to this. And I think the reason why Sami feels the exact same way about SmackDown's management as Owens. Let me paint you this picture. SmackDown Live has been touted by both Shane and Daniel Bryan as the land of opportunity, where everybody has a chance to become a star. Zayn wanted to go to SmackDown so bad because he was so underused on Raw. Everyone's, he's thinking, finally, I'm going to get my shot. Where's has Zayn's shot been? And this has been, eating him a little bit. And then, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I remember recently Daniel Bryan was interviewed. And they asked him if he thought there was some SmackDown wrestlers that weren't performing up to expectations. The first name out of Daniel Bryan's mouth was Sami Zayn. Now, let's face facts here. If you think about it for just a minute, we all could see ourselves in Kevin Owens' shoes. And Kevin Owens is supposed to be the heel in all this. But think about this just a second. Every time he's tried to get his hands back on that United States Championship, Shane McMahon has been there to interfere. And this is what makes Kevin Owens not only a believable heel, but in a sick, twisted way, Kevin Owens is the hero in all this. Yes, in promos and threatening the family and doing all that. Yes, Kevin could have gone in what many could describe as too far. But think about it. Think about if your boss is threatening your livelihood, the way you feed your family, the way you educate your children, the way you keep a roof over your family's head, and he's getting cheered for it. I know some people watching this are going to love this thing, but think about this for just a minute. Kevin Owens could quite possibly be the hero in all this, in an odd way of thinking, and Sami could be thinking to himself after hearing that comment from Daniel Bryan. Kevin's right. This may be the land of opportunity for AJ Styles, for Ty Dillinger, for Baron Corbin, for Shinsuke Nakamura, for Jinder Mahal, but I haven't seen an opportunity. I haven't gotten a title shot. I haven't had a sniff of success on SmackDown Live, and who is the reason for that? It's not me. I'm going out there giving the best matches I possibly can, giving everybody their money's worth. Who could quite possibly be the reason why? Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan. Management is holding me back. If I were writing this is exactly what would be coming out of Sami Zayn's mouth. Because, think about it. This might blow your mind a little bit, but think about it. Just a second. These guys are actually the heroes in the story. You remember how we all were about the Authority. The Authority, cold, heartless, ruthless. We're going to do what we think is best for business. Shane McMahon is doing the exact same thing. But yet he's getting cheered for it. So who's the true villain? Sorry, the correct answer is Marty Scurll. It always has been. It always will be. So, those are my 5 questions that I posed after Hell in a Cell. And maybe we're going to get those answers tonight, and maybe things are going to drag on. But in that way, this was a good pay-per-view. Not great. You know, Jinder Mahal's still champion. But, you know, in every other aspect, that, you know, if it weren't for that, I would have given this pay-per-view top marks. If it were not for the fact that we still have Jinder Mahal as champion, and the fact that he's been booked weaker than nursing home coffee. Everything else about this was a more cerebral pay-per-view than I think a lot of people realize. This one made you think. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself on that. Wow. I know a lot of people called Sami's heel turn, and maybe it could be for the reasons I've illustrated. But it does make you think, doesn't it? So, here's once again where I pose questions to you. What did you guys think of Hell in a Cell? What matches left you scratching your head? What questions do you have that you would like SmackDown Live to answer? Let me, of course, know in the comments section below. And as always, you can talk to me via my most glorious social media. And as I promised, later on this week, we are going to do Finishers Week. I'll probably start later tonight. So please look forward to that. And of course, like this video, share it with your friends, and of course, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. We are up to 55 subscribers now. 55! I lost count. And it's all because you guys help me, and I try to entertain you, and you guys are helping me get more people to entertain. So kudos to you. So until next time, I am the Guido, and I think we're done here. Or are we? Yeah, we're done here.